Academia is very important because it is in the academics where research is taking place, conception is taking place, but the most important is the narration that's taking place. And in academia world, we allow the freedom of thought. So these kind of goals can be seriously interrogated, and then backed by research, we can arrive to goals which are really consistent and relatable to the reality that we are in. So academia has a very important role, and sometimes in the multilateral settings, we don't get enough time to discuss on these kind of issues. And when we discuss, we, as a member states, we carry our biases into it, we carry our interest into it. And the academia is free from that kind of interest. Academia is supposed to be free and liberal. So you can interrogate these SDG goals in an angle and manner that member states and officials cannot do. So your role is very important. You come with the advantage of being objective, and you leave to us diplomats to negotiate interest out of those. Oh yes, I think if looking back at the MDGs and now SDGs, the future generation has a lot to learn from these two initiatives. One thing is, it is now coming out clearly that we may not achieve SDGs in 2030 in their totality. We may achieve in so many ways, but not in their totality, given the flow, the pace of the mobilizing finances, but also other issues that has happened between, like COVID-19, war in Ukraine, war in Gaza, which has necessitated diversion of resources. So the lesson here should be, I envisage that by 2030 we'll be coming with another initiative, like the one we did in 2015. We won't solve problems in 20. But one thing that I think the next generation of young people, challenge to them would be not to repeat the mistakes we have done in the SDGs and in the design of SDGs and design of the MDGs. And to me, what is that? What I perceive to be a problem is to not solving the financing problem. We pay lip service, and we're assuming that just goodwill of countries, especially developed countries, will be able to finance the SDGs and MDGs. And we have realized over time, whenever we get approached closer to these goals, we start discussing financing gap. So in the next, if there will be a next initiative after 2030, I think the first thing that should be answered will be the finance, and then the rest will flow after that. GEF, I think, is a very good forum. We need more of these forums. We need more of these forums which are independent from the governmental kind of forums. Again, it happens in the university setting. It brings in academia, professionals like us from the diplomacy, people from the government, and students as well. And we need this more because this goes, it's not about governments, they're about people. It's about our planet. So we should have a broader debate, a broader discussion, and a very inclusive one. And through forums like GEF, we can include more people than the people we could include in the normal multilateral setting. So that's why I say, I think this is very important, and I encourage Yonsei and all the partners of goodwill to sustain this debate. But most important, I think this year what is very significant was incorporating the voices from the developing country, voices of the marginalized. And in my opinion, that in future, this should not be a one-time kind of piloting project. I think this should be part of the mainstream discussion in the next GEF and another GEF to come, and even given more weight in the planning of the program.